And here we are. Hello, greetings, and welcome to another episode of Spiritual Cuisine. I'm your host, Dr. Assata Haki. And today I have guests. I have Shirley Swackard and I have Tanya Oliver Miller. Can you both say hi?
Hello,
Hi,
greetings.
greetings.
In a moment, they will each let you know who is Shirley, aka Sabu, and who is Tanya. All right. So today we will, this space has been created to give Tanya the opportunity and the platform to share her voice, to share her journey dealing with mental illness. There are many people who go through mental illness, and sometimes we never find the answer, and then somehow she found me, well, her mom found me, and together we have been able to see what is the divine part that goes on in behind the scenes. I say behind the scenes because we see the surface and what mental illness displays that's going on within one who has those, whether it's schizophrenia, bipolar, and any other names that have been clinically diagnosed. However, me being a metaphysician, I have been blessed with the gift to be able to tap in to really see what's really going on. It's like getting to the core, getting to the root of what is really going on within all of us. Whether you're dealing with a diagnosis, mental illness, because there's people who don't have diagnosis, but yet they still have the same symptoms. They still deal
Yeah.
with the same things. They're still battling voices in their head saying, I can or I can't. When you're going for a job interview or you don't get that job after you've done the interview and you feel like you've given your best and you don't get it, you beat yourself up. Well, maybe I didn't interview right, or maybe it's because of the color of my skin, well, maybe I didn't wear the right suit, or maybe I didn't answer it correctly. So you're mentally taking yourself through some things and you're arousing your emotions. And yet, where you can have a little bit more strength to be like, you know what, psst, whatever. I'm good
Mhm.
and I know my worth. So I'm just going to put in over here at this other company, right? So because it's all about
Mhm.
how you react, how you respond to how what life brings to you. That doesn't mean you're off, right? It doesn't mean that you're crazy, right? It doesn't mean that you're, excuse me, I'm dealing with eye stuff. And this is being recorded in the raw. So you will see organic things happening. This is not an Oprah show where it's like, cut, all right, let's edit that. No, you're going to see it all. But my point is, we all deal with mental things and emotional things. I was told that I had spiritual schizophrenia. And
Mhm.
this was through a spiritual coach that I had. Her name is, I don't speak with her now, but her name is Dora Jones. And I just start doing the work, and I'm like, what does she mean? So I start asking the God in me or the goddess in me because I'm female. And it starts showing me, oh, it means that you're constantly just all over the place with your own thoughts.
Mhm.
It's like,
Okay.
wow, that's it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's easier said than done, but the work is controlling those thoughts and
Mhm.
also managing those thoughts and also clearing out those thoughts because there's a lot of thoughts that were projected onto us as youth. Now, you may have grown up in a beautiful, loving home, but you go to school and those children can mess you up in your mind. You
So
know
true.
you're beautiful, but you go to
Mhm.
school, and because one child is being told or put down at home, they bring that behavior and they project it onto
Mhm.
their classmates. And so they make their classmates and they start teasing them and bullying them. But that's because they're bringing that from somewhere else. But
Mhm.
neither here nor there, what happens is it still causes some mental and emotional uproars. Um, with the most so-called stablest people, everyone's fine. But then one thing can happen and it can just set you off and it make you feel like what they use as the word crazy.
That's
But there's
true.
no such word. It's no such word. All it
Mhm.
is just a bunch of just jumble going on and we have to settle it. It's like having um, a glass in a box sealed up. You drop that box and the glass is broke. And you shake it and you hear all those pieces, right? But then if you open that box and you have the proper tool to put that glass back together, it's back a whole glass that you can use.
Right.
The same as us. Everything that works outside, it started working first on the inside.
On the inside.
So now, with that being said, that's my little spiel into today's topic, which is is with Tanya Oliver Miller, and along with her mother, her beautiful queen mother, Shirley Swackard. We call her Sabu. All right, so it's dealing with her mental illness journey. I like to say mental health journey. Illness don't exist, right?
That's
No,
right. That's
disease
right.
doesn't exist. And let me explain why you say, what you mean? But I have this or that's no. We have to separate it. It's a dis dash ease that goes on within us. That means that we have a dis ease of what's going on. Rather, it's, oh, I can't deal with the fact that my husband is this or my wife is that or my children won't listen or how am I pay these bills, right? And so what happens is that stress begins to develop dis-ease, right? You're uneasy. No difference. Dis-ease is the same. It's just disease within the body. When it comes to emotion, is uneasy, but it's the same ease that's being interrupted. Okay. So let's move into introducing or allowing my guests to introduce themselves, and then we'll get into our segment. So let's start with our main attraction here. So hello, Miss Tanya Oliver
Hello.
Miller. Please just introduce yourself and then allow your mom to introduce herself, and then we'll go from there. How about that?
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for having me today. Like you stated, my name is Tanya Oliver Miller. I am the mother of three beautiful daughters, beautiful girls, beautiful queens, shall I say. Like you stated, this is my beautiful mother. I thank God for her putting you as well as myself together and we found each other. Praise God. That is just a blessing. Um, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And I pray, and what I would like for everyone to get from this is just help and just know that it's not a disease, it's not an illness. And I think that's the main thing I do want to convey to everyone, that it's just not an illness, it's not a disease, and that we're special, we're chosen people, and I love it. And you have to embrace it. And once you embrace it, you do know it's a beautiful thing, but you just have to embrace it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, greetings to all. It is just an honor to sit here and be a part of the experience. I'd like to thank you, first of all, Assata, Dr. Assata Haki, and my lovely daughter here. The journey is not always easy, but it's the experience and the lives you touch along the way. I am delighted that she was chosen to come through me as a mom to experience this. I coined the title Sabu because it's self-awareness by over, under, and understanding. So that's the premise of what we're doing here. And I'm just excited to be about this journey and to sit quietly and humbly and embrace the experience.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
thankful.
you. Now, as I move forward, before we move forward, I just want to let you know that I do not negate mental illness. I do not negate the treatment that anyone's feeling that they need. Where I am more of behind. I had a cousin who asked me last night. She says, she checked herself. She says, "Well, do you believe in mental? I mean, what do you think is the meaning behind mental illness?" So she
Mhm.
corrected herself because I am not against it. Yes, I do know that it happens, but I understand why. So that's what me and Tanya have come together. Sabu brought us together because Sabu understood that there was something behind that. Because when it comes to metaphysical, it means beyond the physical. Just
Physical.
like you know that um, there is God, creator, all of
Amen.
allness, Allah, Jehovah, all the names
Mhm.
that it has been given, it is in us as the breath that we breathe. So
Yeah.
spirit is behind everything that is. Okay. So
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I am not like, don't take no meds. You need to go get it. No, because if you are not there in your heart to be open to receive, to know that there's something deeper and that there is help,
Yes.
beyond what has been given to you that is not really working. It's just upping your doses and upping your doses, and yet you're still going through this. And if you don't take it, then because it has already altered your mind, the origin of
Yeah.
what you were created as. So when it's altered, it's like it's hard to try to take what I'm saying and then try to take what the doctors are saying. Yeah, you're going to battle because all you know
It's
is
a lot.
the medicine was made to help you.
Hmm.
However, we know that if it's supposed to help you, then you shouldn't have to take it long term. It's no difference than me
True.
saying, hey, once you
Mhm.
get through the Bible in church, why do you have church? Should be
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
right. So it's just really about getting, for me, all souls is about getting back to who we and what we are. And that is
Where we are.
divine beings that are perfect. We're not here to be people perfect. We were made perfectly in the image and likeness of God. And that's
God.
enough for me. And if you cross my
Yes.
path, I'll help you open up to you too. Now, with that opening, let's open up with you, Tanya, talking about and share with us, and you can include Sabu. Sabu, feel free if you want to be like, yeah, I remember that. However, choose to do. Um,
Yeah.
and share with us your birthplace, one of your greatest childhood memories or joyous childhood memories, and go on from 12 to 13, or even going from 13 to 14 when you felt like you were a teenager. And then let's take it as far as that. Let's see.
Okay. Well, I was born in Oceanside, California, right next to San Diego. San Diego. I was
Mhm.
born on base, Camp Pendleton. My father was in the Marines,
Mhm.
and he was also in Vietnam. So he and my mother had me out there on base in San Diego, well, Oceanside, and moved from there to New Jersey. And I cannot remember a lot of my early childhood. Um, for whatever reason. Um, I do remember a funny story though. The earliest I can remember is middle school, not middle school, grade school, elementary. And I was always a protector over my sister, even though I am the youngest. I always assumed the role of being the oldest, always,
Always.
always. And it was a bully, was bullying my sister. And I think I was maybe in kindergarten, first grade, maybe. And she was in third, fourth. And he was just bullying her. And I caught wind of it in our passing going in the stairwell, and she had like show and tell. You know how you bring something in for show and tell, and she
Mhm.
had some cards in her hand, and the little bully just knocked them out of her hand while in the passing of me going by. And that was my first encounter of just really having a little altercation with a little fella in school, and I remember that just like it was yesterday. And that's my earliest childhood
And what
memory.
did you do to him?
I kind of yoked them up, let them
She
know.
was good
Keep
Yeah,
for
it
that.
real.
I
Keep
was
it
really,
real.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I played no games when it came to my sister. So, needless to say, she had her little cars picked up by the little fella and, and he apologized and stuff. And I kept it moving, So that's my earliest childhood memory of grade school. And I really honestly can't remember anything else until middle school. To
Okay,
be
well,
honest.
Sabu, would you like to add a little something to what she may not remember? Little girl first start walk, whatever come to mind to
Yeah.
you.
Well, she had a quite a nice elementary grade school experience,
Mm.
and I didn't know she was so aggressive in the beginning. She was such a sweet child at school, but she was always a protector
Mm.
of her sisters and anyone she really loved.
Anyone.
So that carries on to this times,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just loving and protective of you. Once she have the relationship, she's right there with you the entire time. So we had a lot of great experiences until little things began to happen
Yeah.
that needed attention, and
Yeah.
so here we are.
Okay, so
Yeah.
before we got to that part, so going into becoming a teenager, what do you remember? Because and then I asked that because I'll never forget. I was in middle school. I believe I was in sixth or seventh grade. But anyway, the young lady was in there with me. She wasn't in my class, but classes were exchanging, and so she was. At first, she was just a quiet little girl, and then this particular day, she was in the bathroom and she was putting lipstick on and eyeliner. She was like, "I'm 13 today. I'm a teenager." So it's like I didn't do that because I knew what household I was living in, so I didn't
Right.
have those kind of thoughts. But what were your thoughts when teen was behind your name?
Oh, well,
I mean, your age, my bad.
my my parents was pretty strict but lenient at the same time. They were like the hip like parents, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mm.
All the children loved our parents. So
Okay.
it was like and then my father was from Jersey, so the high school, middle school, as well as elementary school, my father also went there.
Okay.
So it's like we rode the coattails of being an Oliver from my dad. So
Got it.
some of our teachers were some of his partners back when, he was in school.
Okay.
So, we had a phenomenal time growing up in Jersey. It was like, it was the epitome of the jumping rope, playing jacks, playing
Before
kickball,
the lights are off,
home before the lights came on. When the lights come on outside on the
you
street,
You
better
gotta
you
run.
better be at the house. You know what I'm saying? So, my dad standing on the porch whistling for us to get home, So it's like we really had an awesome childhood growing up.
So
You know,
turning 12 to 13 was just smooth.
it was
It
so
was
smooth.
it was
We were in like a really well-known drill team in the neighborhood, so we was
Well, what
always in
about
the
you though?
parade.
What about your inner self? That's what I'm speaking of right now. Becoming a teenager. Did anything change in you? Was there an upgrade, an elevation? Did
Yeah,
you?
because I went from back then, I went from the skinny little high yellow girl, because in Jersey, you ain't getting that much sun. So if you on the lighter shade, they call you mellow yellow, So it's like, that. So
Mhm.
it was like I was coming into my own, a little bit. So
Okay.
I was starting to notice the boys. The boys was noticing me, and
Ah,
so
that's what I'm talking
it
about.
was
The juicy stuff,
yeah, the
not playing
juicy stuff.
jacks.
And
You
then
know.
it was like being that I had an older
Yeah.
sister. Yeah, being that I had an older sister, we did a lot of things together, like the quarter parties in the basement and
Ah.
things like that, and going over
Mm,
to the next town to Newark or going over to New York and stuff like that. So,
okay.
we started gradually getting out there. So,
Okay. All
so it was
right.
really fun. I had a phenomenal time growing up.
That's
I really did.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
That's always a beautiful thing, because people, and I'm gonna say people because I don't know all of the people, but a lot of people tend to believe that you have these kind of things that you deal with because you come from a bad childhood. That's
Exactly,
not
exactly.
necessarily true.
And that's not the case.
Right. So,
Right.
so
I
yeah,
didn't experience that. I can't,
yeah,
speak on that. And so, I can't claim that. I had a
yeah.
phenomenal time growing up.
Awesome. See,
Yeah.
so I want y'all. So while y'all watching, I want to be like, I wonder what her mama was like. But what was her dad like? Well, what happened to
Mm-mm.
her? And
No,
what?
no,
Nothing. What happened was it
Not
nothing.
at
was time for
all.
her to
Nothing. Not at
awaken.
all.
And when it was
Not
time
at
for her
all.
to awaken, it hit her in such a way she wasn't ready to deal with that. And
Sure
now,
wasn't. Sure
now
wasn't.
she is. All right. So, all right. So I want to jump to okay, you already kind of like stated um the purpose of our interview to share your story and the efforts and desire that it will help others and inspire people. Because actually, listening to it, the help is the inspiration that will come from it. It
Okay.
will be the wow, it will be the eye openers. It will be like, I didn't think of it like that. Is that
Yeah.
really what's going on with me?
Right.
So and this is what opens the door for people to want to know more from you.
Hmm.
So, based on that, tell me a little bit more about your podcast. Like, what is your vision for your podcast in regards to sharing your journey? I just want you to talk about that just a little bit.
As far as the podcast, I have to do a even more research on the podcast because with me, I'm just learning about a podcast. All I truly know is what I've experienced and what I would like for the public and people to see, to know what's going on with me and my
Okay.
experience. And if I can help being like the podcast, being out there, being so raw, being this is who I am, this is what I'm experiencing. I just
Okay.
want to try to help
Okay.
as many as people as I can via the podcast. And that is my ultimate thing for wanting to have a podcast. You know,
Okay.
that's the ultimate is to
Okay.
see if
Cool.
is there's, I'm sure it's more people out here and letting them know what I'm dealing with, what they're dealing with, just a platform for us to have a discussion.
Okay. Well, as if you're listening, you're watching, if you know anything in regards to how this could be made manifest and helping her, please do reach out. You can reach out to me if you only know me. If you know Tanya or Sabu, then of course you could do that. We have a drop-in guest that would like to speak to Sabu. Sabu Trayvon would like to speak to Sabu.
Hey, how you doing?
Greetings, Trayvon. You were such a little one the last time I saw you.
Peace, Queen. How you been?
Been wonderful. I've been watching you.
You looking beautiful. How you doing?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. You know, I have a grandson named Trayvon.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's
That's
some kind of guy, too.
he has to be. He has to
Just
be.
like you. It's so great to see you.
Yes, ma'am. It's always a blessing. I never forgot the times we had at the church and
Oh,
yeah, kept me in line. I always cherish those moments. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's so loving to hear that, Trayvon.
Thank you for dropping in,
No,
Trayvon.
no problem.
Oh, wonderful.
he's so
To those of
handsome.
you who don't know me, but that was my son Trayvon, and Sabu was a big inspiration in my son's life. When I was living down in Waycross, my son was dealing with mental issues that he wasn't aware of, but I was made aware of myself. So as a parent, I learned to raise my children according to their souls because I need to know
Mhm.
what God had for them here and what their soul lessons are. So I started paying attention, and he was one of my first clients. So, I've been working through him. And so Sabu, she helped plant the divine seed in him, or she helped water the divine seed that I had already planted in him. And
Mhm.
so it allowed him to always have a choice of rightness. So I thank you,
Yes,
Sabu.
beautiful,
Thank you
Mom.
so
I
much.
so
So
appreciate
beautiful.
that.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
May I just regress 1 minute?
Please do.
Yes, I want to go back to how there are seeds hidden within us and they don't manifest until later on.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So this is what has happened to that I'm learning myself. That's happened to Tanya over years.
Mhm.
She had the seed already planted within her, and it began to manifest and grow as she grew
Mhm.
Hmm.
to bring us to the place where we are now. And that was that seed of the dis-ease of what she was dealing with mentally, and it comes to fruition later on in her life as the podcast will teach us.
Bring your hand down so it won't cover your mouth when you're talking.
Okay.
So with her, with Sabu saying that, let's go into our next portion. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being brave. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you for being brave enough for you. It's not just so
Mm,
much about just sharing, but being brave enough to say, I choose me.
Mhm.
I'm going to stand up for me.
yeah.
I'm going to take control of me.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I'm going to become one with the divine presence
Mhm.
in me and be the greatness that I am and only can be. So thank you, my sister. Thank you.
Mm,
Okay.
Mhm.
So
yes,
with
you.
that, and so we can help them better understand this dis-ease that Sabu brought up. Let's talk about as safe as you can. The first episode, how old you were, and where did it take place. So you can tell me your age and the place and what the episode was, and you both can kind of go back and forth with that, and then what happened afterwards.
Mhm. Well, I was 16. I was in California, Carson, California, and I was at the Carson Mall, and I was just an average day with my sister and myself walking through the mall, and I just dropped down to the floor and just started crawling like I was literally in Vietnam. In my head, I was literally on the battlefield in
Mhm.
Vietnam,
Okay.
totally.
Okay.
And my scared my poor sister to death, as well as everyone around me, the security people, the people worked there. They didn't know what to do with me. And I do believe I went straight to the mental, or I don't know what they did with me at this point, but that was basically my first encounter of a shift, like
Mentally.
mentally in
Mhm.
my
Okay. So
head.
okay. So Sabu, you step in now. What happened afterwards? What she don't remember? What happened immediately? What took place?
Well, they took her to the emergency room, of course, and we were called in, and the process began at that point
Mhm.
because what was going on with her, none of us was, all of it was new to us. And
Mhm.
that's when the institutionalized and all of the other events began to take place with her.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So that's
And
where the series of course, drug testing to make sure I wasn't like on any elusive drugs or
Drugs.
anything. All of that
Mhm.
came out negative, so they had to rule all of that out.
mhm,
Also, being on heavy medication, the strongest, which is back then was lithium and
Mhm.
Herodol and all of that. You know, I've been on so many different medications.
mhm.
And so, to the point where just walking around basically like a zombie because I was traveling in my head to so many dimensions, so many different areas, and I was
Mhm.
just all over the place.
Okay.
So, and that's when it first initially started.
Okay. So between the both of you, from that incident, and right before you met me, April of last year, what had just a little bit, don't you don't have to go into details because we got to save some juice for the podcast. Or if
Okay.
until you get your podcast, if you want to share your story via this way, and then by the time the podcast come, it's just really about how do I help you through what I have already shared, so you'll let me know. So
Okay.
watching out just in case she said yes, you want to, share, and then we can go into more details in regard
More
to the
detail.
actual treatments and how the processes and the process that she actually go through. But that won't be in this one. This is an intro. But anyway, so you'll let
Well,
me know which way you want to go. So between the two
okay.
of you, what after that happened before me, and what brought you to me in April of
Well,
2020?
in April, of course, I had quite a few episodes
No, way
from
before
that,
that. I'm
that
saying
way
before.
before that.
Yeah,
So I'm
after
just saying,
after
so
your
in
yeah.
April of last year,
Mhm.
2020, just in the Walmart parking lot,
Okay.
and I locked eyes with a spirit of a man, a Caucasian, and
Mhm.
as soon as I locked eyes, it was just a shift in my
Mhm.
brain. It's
Mhm.
totally. It just happened, and my close family members always can see in my eyes, like if it's a shift or anything. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what happened. I was just in the Walmart parking lot, and it was just a spirit just came, just like boom, just like that. And that's
So what so to be clear, to make sure everybody's clear as to what she's speaking of. So Tanya, you're saying that you could see.
yes, very much,
So being a
very much.
seer means that she can see that does not walk in a body, and she can
Mhm.
also recognize them in a body. That's a
Yes, I
gift.
can. Yes, it
Okay.
is.
All right. So Sabu, just a bit, like I said, before you came to me, before April of last year, before you brought her here or brought her to my to me, a little bit that was going on in regards to having only the medical, the clinical treatments, right? So now we're moving into mental illness treatments versus spiritual healing mind treatments, right? So between the two of you, before me, what, and then the to me and after me. Because so, how was it going, and then what led you here, and how is this helping, if it's helping, and how it has helped you, and how you can use both to bring you back to balance. Am
Sure.
I clear? Was that clear?
Yes, very clear. Um, in studying the self, we as a people have to always go beyond the physical, what we're seeing. And I had gone beyond that point. And I knew that the medications, the therapy, and all these other things that they were giving her physically to satisfy her and to calm the savage beast within her was not working anymore. So then it was time to get Dr. Assata Haki on the case. It was time. So I says, we're not going to go that way. I know somebody, I've been acquainted with her for a while. I'm going to give her a call. So that's when you came into the picture. And look where we are now.
I know. She's on the camera. You
Wonderful.
all look, you don't know. She could not do this because of
Mhm.
what was always coming through, because it know how to, because spirits are around regardless you see them or not. They
Yes.
they they standing over you now, whether they're your ancestors from lifetimes ago, whether they're
Right.
your celestial family, your starseed family, your
Mhm.
galactia family, your Lemuria family, your Atlantic family. It doesn't matter. Spirit is always. That's why we don't die. We're birthless and we're
Really.
deathless. You know why? Because if God breathes life to create life, then if
Life
we die, then life never continues on and we wouldn't be here now.
today.
So,
Yes.
boom. All right. She could not be on the phone like that. She was challenged with Facebook, watching TV, listening to music because she could hear the other chatter, right? Because
Yes.
she was that open. But we'll get to that, but that's not right now. All right, so you met me. You met me, and I'm proud of you, girl. That's all I'm saying. I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
you, Queen.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you doing your thing, and that's why this is important because there was one point last year she was like, I don't know if I can do that. What do you? She really was, but
I
now look
know.
at her.
Didn't
She
say
has been flowing through this interview. Have anybody seen any breakdowns?
Nah, not
Yeah.
second, bro.
So let me get back. I love to have fun on my show. This is Spiritual Cuisine. We like
Yes.
to feed you correctly. Okay, so continue on. So then you brought me, I came in. So Tanya,
Yes.
you know, when we first met, where were you and where are you now? Just a little bit. Don't give them a lot. Don't forget. We want to, 'cause we got to break it down.
Like you stated, I could barely even have a conversation with you at all. You know, our conversation probably lasted maybe what 15 to 30 minutes, and I was boo-hooing throughout the whole conversation. And like you stated, now we're able to have a dialogue like now, but I know it says in the Bible, God does not give you the spirit of fear. And I know sometimes when you're looking in the mirror, you could be your worst enemy, you know. But I'm here to just tell whoever is listening, watching, that this too definitely shall pass. And um, something I definitely want to share, that it was an affirmation for myself when I was first hospitalized as a teenager, that my mother had me post in my room as well as my bathroom. In every institution I ever was in, and I've been in so many from coast to coast, the me I see is the me I be. If I can never see it, I'll never be it. And that, I kept reiterating that through my whole journey. And I just want to let whoever's watching and, with the podcast and continue, just hold on, because greater is coming, and I truly believe greater is coming. I know it, that it's there, but you just got to get through there, got to get in there. You got to get in them trenches, and like I gonna go back to the fear, where you just have the hairs in the back of your neck sprout up, that type of fear. But you put that armor of God on, that armor, that breastplate, and just know that that you're going to get through it, because we are warriors. We are soldiers. And that is what I want to convey. That's what I want to say. And that's where I'm at right now.
Ooh, just wait till they get down to the crevices that you're talking about. Them crevices that we forget about. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I forgot about that. That's a little sweaty there. I didn't know. All right. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Sabu, can you please share as well what you noticed? Because you have been there with her and on this whole journey, from her where she was and then after, or where she's now since being under my spiritual care.
Well, it continues to be an experience, but through it all, we're holding on because we know greater is here. And we're so thankful that you would take on this challenge. It's been like such an experience, and it's such a release.
Yes, it is.
To know that she's not dependent on the medications, and she goes within herself and she pulls on. Oh, Mom, I'm just so thankful for Assata. She mentions you so often, so I know the impact that you have had in her life, and the greater we are experiencing now. And I look forward to her being a part of others' lives, because that's who she is. And she can see further than she's really looking. And I'm thankful.
Yes.
I'm
Thank
thankful.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So just a little bit, with Tanya's permission, just a little bit into exactly what you were dealing with and how you will. Are you coming back to Spiritual Cuisine to share a little bit more?
Um, I'm sorry.
Are you coming back to Spiritual Cuisine as a guest to share another portion, or the actual story? And
Of course, we'll be back.
Oh yes,
Yes.
of course. Whenever, yes, of
We
course.
love what's being served in the
Yes.
okay,
I'm bringing my whole appetite.
so I did all of that and said all of that to be able to ask your permission to share just a little bit in what we will be talking about next episode with you. So is it okay just tap on a little bit of what I experienced? Okay.
Please.
So as a metaphysician, of course, yes, Tanya is the very first person that I have actually had to that came to me and really wanted, because for one, you have to be open to receive, because it's your own healing. I don't really do anything. I'm just the light. I have the tools and I have the light, and I give them to you, but you have to use them. So she came open and ready. I did my own prayer and I tapped into the Almighty and I asked myself, how do I help her? And so instantly, once I started talking to her, I heard everything else but her. And so I spoke to her and I said, "Who are you?" And that voice went away. And then Tanya came in. She didn't remember. So what I'm saying is that she was being visited. She was taken over because she was open. What
Yes.
So being open allows understanding what open means. Open is not being conscious, being present when you're not present and you're
That's true.
zoned out.
Mhm.
This body being a vehicle, that is just what it is. It's
It's a
just
Exactly.
vehicle.
It's a vehicle.
anything can get up in it and roll.
That's true.
So
That's so true.
she was unaware. She was unconscious of her spiritualness, her divinity. So in that, the spirits that was around her, they knew. So what they did was,
They would visit her.
spirit knows. They wait. It's like the ones who say the devil made me do it. Well, of course, in my belief, there is no devil. The devil is our own selves. We are our own demons. We make our
Yes,
own,
it's true.
demonic things. So it's what can influence you to do things that are
To
not good.
do.
And
That's
the
right.
only way you can be influenced to do something that you not supposed to do, or quote unquote not supposed to do, is if your mind is already leaning that way.
Yes.
You may not verbalize it, but it's heard. So her being, I'm tired of this. It was frustrating. I mean, I'm an actress, so of course I'll dramatize stuff, but I don't I'm not making light of it. But
Yeah.
she'd be upset and she would cry and I can't take this, because I don't know what if I only know what it feels like when something has visited me, when I give it permission, when I'm doing spiritual work. In that, I was able to help her understand that she's a medium, an unaware medium, an unconscious medium. So that means that means her door was open, so anybody was coming up in there. She was sleeping in the back room and the door was wide open and everything came up in there.
Yeah.
And so she was, and everything that was using her, I knew it was real and I knew it was true, because she was saying things from history. She was bringing up things from what was going on, but she couldn't be clear of it, because of course, if people tell you constantly, you're crazy, let that go, that's all up in your mind, and you just, well, of course you're going to think it doesn't make sense, but all it is that she was tapped into the highest frequencies. That means she was opened up to every soul that walks.
That's true.
So what I had to help her do was find a way to close off her own vehicle and take control of it by commanding and demanding and making sure that all spirit that was around knew that without permission you can't enter. It's
That's
no
it.
different than someone coming into your home. My door
Mhm.
may be open, but if I don't invite you in, do not come in. And
Mhm.
once she did that, she really started to come into just her ownness. And then she had to
Mhm.
deal with all the havoc or the Beirutness that then went on because of all of
Yes,
that she
that's
wasn't
so
aware of.
true.
So as she started to clean little by little, inch by inch, this is not this has not been a microwave healing process. She's
Absolutely
still in the
not.
process
Absolutely not.
because
Mhm.
sometimes our boat do rock. We might hit a wave that make us go,
Mhm.
whoa, but it's about
Mhm.
how do we get back to that, whew, okay?
Mhm.
And understanding when these thoughts come, how to null and void them, especially when we know that it's not our stuff. So
Yeah.
part of that is her recognizing she's picking up everybody else's stuff. How she came to understand that, you have to chime in, and we'll we'll walk her through
Yeah.
that process. But our whole point of this whole interview is to give spiritual food to you, to your soul, to help you know that, oh, there is help. God didn't
Mm.
create things and things are not going on and God don't have a clue.
Don't have
Because
yeah.
nothing is that God don't know about.
That
Mhm.
didn't start that he don't have an answer to.
Everything has an answer
Amen.
because
Yes.
Amen.
it has to happen in order for you to get to the answer so you can learn the lesson. Boom.
That's true.
Got it?
Oop.
All right.
Yes.
So, thank you. So, with that,
Thank
thank
you.
you for allowing me to just share that tidbit. A lot of what we're saying may be going over people's head and they're not really piecing it together. And that's okay. I'm good with that. I wasn't trying to have a perfect through line, but my through line was her beginning, her middle, and her end, and a couple of in betweens. Just to give you a tad bit of um, what she wants to share as she continue her healing journey and to open up the space for others to join the healing journey for
Yeah.
themselves, and to take control of their own healing. Again, this is not to negate mental illness or mental health, and those who have severe mental health. I cannot and will not touch on that. I just know the
Mhm.
background of it. And it's just so happened that I was blessed to meet Tanya through her mom, who God knew was what was going on and needed to be shared with the world. So this
Yeah.
is God's work. This is not us trying to come up with something. We're not Dr. Fields and all those. No, what we are
Mhm.
is divine children here to show you that we are made in the image and likeness. So therefore, how could we be less than the power of God, right? So we
Amen.
have that healing power. We have all that we need within. We just have to remember it's there and have somebody help us go there and stop going outside of ourselves. Okay. Um,
Right.
Before we end, any final words, Tanya? Any final words, Sabu?
I am looking forward to taking this journey uh, with Dr. Assata, my mom, as well as the viewers. And I pray that someone would get something from this. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast and speaking, just so you could take something away. And I love you. And I look forward to our next appointed time, our next time.
It's coming soon, and we'll
Yes,
let
ma'am.
you. And when it comes soon, that means depends. It'll be either the end of the week or next week. I don't know. It might be tomorrow. We don't know.
We don't
Yes.
know. Right.
Divine order.
Stay tuned.
Sabu.
I just like to remind us all that we are helpers to one another. Mm.
Oh, Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
So
Look
on
forward
that
to.
note, I would like to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for sitting in and listening to us for this time. I hope that something that was stated will help you. If you have any
Mhm.
questions, you can always just reach out, and I'm open and willing to help you. What name, if anyone wants to reach out to you directly, as Tanya, what is your name on Facebook, if that's what you want to give?
We can do email for right now,
Okay.
or you could reach me via Facebook too. So it's
Okay, so
Tanya
what'll
Oliver.
happen? Up, 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 up. I will put it in the bottom. Okay, so
There we go.
we'll make sure that I put it in the bottom links so that you will
Okay.
be able to so people will be able to click on it and find you there, and we'll go from there. Again, thank you all, thank you both so
Thank
much. This is
you.
my first one, and yes, it may seem like it's like all over the place, but that's how I love it. I love
I
organic.
love it that too. I love it.
Yeah.
So with that,
Peace and love.
I love you and
Love
namaste.
you. Love. Peace and love.
Peace
Ashe.
and blessings. Thank you.
Peace and
We
blessings.
receive it.
Thank
Woo.
you.
Welcome. All right.